This is Business LO, a podcast by the Lake Oswego Chamber of Commerce, which connects, educates, advocates, and champions our business community. We have nearly 500 members from international corporations to home-based businesses, and we serve them all. Each episode of Business LO gives insider information to the local business community and the neighbors who support them. And now, let's talk Business LO.
Today is May 20th, 2026, and this episode will publish on June 1st. Business LO is tapping into its artistic side with very special and creative guests here to help us understand just how much a thriving arts community lifts every business. Joining us is Natalie Wood of the Lakewood Center for the Arts. She is head of artistic development and the festival coordinator of the famous Lake Oswego Festival of the Arts. And we have Eric Evans, communications and development manager at the Arts Council of Lake Oswego. One of ACLO's most exciting programs is creating the first outdoor rotating sculpture exhibit known as Lake Oswego's Gallery Without Walls. Heather Graves Ramsey is heading the conversation today. She is owner of Coach to Brilliance. She specializes in executive coaching and leadership development. And of course, everybody's favorite Chamber CEO Liz Hartman has Chamber Insider info with what you need to know in LO. I'm Michelle Odell, and let's talk about how culture is good for business.
Lake Oswego, one of the things that attracts people here and keeps them here is our art community, how strong it is. This is a business show, and we want to talk a little bit about how does art affect the business here in Lake Oswego. Now, I know the difference between the two of you because I get to see you in my different realms, whether it's Rotary or Chamber, but I'm curious. It is a little confusing for people that don't know you, so I would love if each of you could just tell us a little bit about like what your organization is and how is it different and how do you support each other?
The Arts Council of Lake Oswego exists primarily to partner with the city to take care of their public art collection, to add to it, to repair it when necessary, to publicize it, and to make sure that it's cared for going forward. There are two main pieces to that. One is the public art that exists in the streets, the Gallery Without Walls, and that's about 85 sculptures, 45 of which are sort of clustered downtown, and also all of the art that appears in city buildings like LORAC, the Adult Community Center, the library. A lot of those pieces are the city's collection, and we make sure that those are rotated, cleaned, cared for, etc. And the city pays for a bit of that work. They contract with us as a nonprofit to take care of that stuff, but they cover precise numbers, 35-40% maybe. So we rely primarily upon the generosity and involvement of Oswego Lakers to donate, to volunteer, to take part, and to do what they can to help maintain the art collection. We have a gallery on A Avenue as part of City Hall, adding to that confusion, called Art Space. We rotate through art shows at the pace of about 5 per year. And the Gallery Without Walls once a year gets a big sort of new cohort of sculptures that come in. But primarily what we do is the public art. We make art available to the public, both in and outdoors.
And it makes such a difference. Keeps LO interesting. I love it.
So to understand the festival, I have to introduce your listeners to the Lakewood Center for the Arts. And if you are new to the area, the Lakewood Center for the Arts is on Highway 43, and it is the big building that was an old school, and it looks like an old school. But in that old school houses, we have classrooms for art instruction, we have an incredible professional live theater, and we have the D. Denton Gallery. And the D. Denton Gallery, we switch out shows just about monthly. And so Lakewood Center, their mission is to inspire a love of the arts, and to that end, they took over running the Lake Oswego Festival of the Arts. And we like to say it is one festival, two locations, because the fine art part is up at Lakewood, and then George Rogers Park has other fine artists, the booth artists, and food and music. The city is one of our sponsors. They're our top sponsor, and Parks and Rec does an incredible job supporting us, and the police and the city as a whole does a huge job of supporting us. But the festival, it is a fundraiser for Lakewood Center to keep doing all the outreach programming and other things that we do.
It is so much that you bring to this community, both of you. When we think about people visiting first starting out with the Arts Festival. How many people come to LO for the Arts Festival every year?
It can range anywhere between 20 to 30,000 people over the course of the weekend. Absolutely.
Wow. Data-wise, do we know what the influx does for our businesses?
For context, we've been tracking data at least over 10 years. We do it very specifically. We have locations we set up our survey. They have a specific set of questions they ask every year. There's times that we can ask the questions. So this is very scientific how we've been monitoring this. We have an awesome survey and statistics team that crunch all the numbers for us after the festival. 4 out of every 10 attendees are first-timers discovering Lake Oswego for the first time, which I think is an incredible number. And I took a look before I came over the last 10 years of data because I wanted to see kind of what the trends were. And in 2015, only 16% of attendees said they'd also visit retail stores. That number last year was 29%. So it keeps trending upward. And the restaurants went from 43% in 2015 to 57% in 2025. So time and time again, everyone that comes to the festival doesn't just show up at the festival and leave. Most of them make a whole weekend of it. They come for all the days. They go out to eat. The artists that are in the park, that's 125 extra people, also dine locally, shop locally. And, only 36% of our attendees last year actually lived in Lake Oswego. While we have a high percentage of return people, they come to the festival, they live here, they come every year, we bring in such a huge audience from not only around Oregon, but Washington, California. I mean, people bring people in from out of town just to come to the festival. So you're not only getting a whole big audience of people that live here, you are introducing thousands of people to what Lake Oswego is and how amazing it is.
We love that because we know that the businesses here, they need people to come from outside in order to sustain. Some of these events that we do, whether it's the Arts Festival or the wine walks that the Chamber runs or any of those things, it's really just to get people to know about the businesses here so they can come back. Help us with defining the local artist community and how it contributes to supporting the arts in LO.
The local artists community is robust. There's LO Open Studios, which consists of between 40 and 70 artists each year. And those are people who have an atelier or a workshop or something in Lake Oswego that they make open to the public for a week or two a year. That's just that organization. In addition to that, I'm aware of dozens of other artists who either live or work in the city and who contribute in some way by visiting other artist studios, by showing up to events, by volunteering with us or with Lakewood. It's uncanny how many artists live and work in the city and how they make the city sort of part of their artistic identity. We tap into that community all the time for events, and that community comes to us all the time asking what's going on, how can we help, where else can we go to see what's going on or to take part. So for us, it's much more about finding the right artists at the right times and putting them in the gallery or encouraging them to take part in one of the other festivals.
Natalie, what would you add to that, like how the artist community is supporting?
When I think of the festival was started by Dee Denton, who wanted to put art in local businesses, and it was sort of a little bit of a walking tour before it eventually landed at Lakewood. And it was a chamber-based festival to start out with, and it was just about connecting artists and getting their art seen. And I think that that's something Lake Oswego as a whole does so well, is help artists. You don't have to be at the Met currently to be here. We want to support you and get you seen and get you in front of the right people.
Our artist community collaborates with businesses, but I'm curious to know a little bit more how they collaborate with the businesses, but also how businesses help them as well.
So we partner with businesses. Not only are they our sponsors, but we work with businesses all year to promote them as much as possible. We do these incredible, we call them the Experience the City of Arts baskets, where everyone that comes to the festival can do a drawing slip, and they might win a basket that is just stuffed with local Lake Oswego business gift cards and items and such. And last year at the festival, I think 3 of the 4 winners were brand new to Lake Oswego. So that's just getting more people in the door. Lakewood loves it when the chamber can come and do one of their morning breakfasts and Friday networking with us. People that come to Lakewood and the festival, like they're not just coming to see a play, or they're not just coming to the festival. They make a day of it. They're going to eat at the restaurants. They're going to go shopping. They're going to walk around. And I think that that's a big part of just the relationship between Lakewood Center as a whole and Lake Oswego.
Eric, how about for you?
Well, I think the Gallery Without Walls is primarily how we interact with businesses, and it's really a wonderful two-way street. We know statistically from Clackamas County studies that about 4 out of 10 people that tour the Gallery Without Walls are from outside Clackamas County, and they come here specifically for that. And while they're here, of course, they're on the streets, they're walking past businesses, they're walking past restaurants, and they ask frequently. Anecdotally, I can tell you that once a week, twice a week, people come in with one of our guidebooks saying, we want to go for a tour, but where should we stop for lunch? Where should we stop for ice cream? And it's a delight to have so many bakeries, eateries, shops. Well, what are you interested in? What do you like? Because we've got this, it's fabulous to be able to send people to the right place based on what they want to do, knowing that they're going to be walking the streets. The flip side of that coin, our streets are beautiful because we have a very limited amount of signage. We don't have sandwich boards. We don't have a lot of street signs. So the Gallery Without Walls sculptures are available for sponsorship. For about $100 a month for a 2-year term, businesses can sponsor a sculpture. And it's not only a tax deduction, but yet they get their name and their logo there. And there's a little QR code on the plaque of each one of these sculptures that takes you to the Public Art Archive, where you can learn about the business that sponsors each one of these. So we've had some sponsors that have been with us forever, businesses that recognize the value and have told us firsthand, like, oh yeah, we get X number of people in. They stop and look at the sculpture, they scan the QR code, and they walk in. So we not only get to my mind, beautify the city, but it sort of helps advertise businesses in a very subtle and beautiful way.
I feel that it makes a difference to have an art-centric community for the businesses and for the community itself. But what statistics do you have that can help us to kind of bring that home?
81% of non-local attendees report that they visit Clackamas County specifically for an art event. So it's specifically for a play at Lakewood. It's specifically for a gallery show at ArtSpace. And of that number, 59% claim that they would have gone somewhere else other than Clackamas County if they didn't have that art here. So
wow.
The last significant numbers we have are from 2022, so post-COVID, pre-tariffs. But it's about $8 million a year spent on public art-related activities or nonprofit art-related activities. That's the Lakewood, that's the plays they put on, which as a theater fan, I have to tell you, it is no small feat to put on as many shows as they put on at the quality that they put on. So that is a constant machine of tourism. We try and put on as many shows as we can. And in the summer months, in the walking months in Oregon, which are, if we're lucky, it's April through October, we promote the Gallery Without Walls and we distribute, about 12,000 copies of our guidebook, most of which disappear. So we know people are taking them and using them. Yeah, statistically, just astonishing. You've got about 37% more money spent by visitors than locals. A visitor might spend a little more than a local would spend, but as Natalie said, everyone's making a day of it. If you come to see a show, you're going to get dinner before and maybe some dessert after. You're going to do a little shopping. You're going to want to beat the traffic, walk up and down the streets, visit some shops, then go to the gallery show or then go to the play. And statistically, we know that's true. The other really interesting thing about arts in the street is the University of Cincinnati did a study that showed that property values in neighborhoods with murals or public art were 20 to 30% higher than in neighborhoods without it. So you not only have increased foot traffic from visitors and from residents, but it's sort of the rising tide that lifts all boats. Businesses aren't the only ones that benefit. Homeowners benefit. Public art benefits everyone in the community.
That's just astounding and a credit to the work that both of you are doing, and then also that the city does, right? The city, the chamber, because this is a group effort here. Natalie, would you add anything to that?
I actually found a different study that they did a couple years ago. It was called the Arts and Economic Prosperity 6 study. And this was a national study. And they found that people attending arts and culture events spend $40 per person on average outside of anything to do with why they're there. And then $60 if they're from out of town. So that's per person per day. So that's after their hotel, their gas, their everything else to get there. They're walking around buying and shopping. And one of the closest that I could find that was actually part of the study was Pendleton, Oregon. Pendleton was part of the study, and they made a dedicated choice to treat the arts as core business infrastructure for the area. And they funded this out of their tourism funding, their marketing, and their renewal budgets. And what they saw was in 1 year alone, Pendleton generated $14.7 million in local economy activity, supported 161 full-time jobs, and generated $2 million in tax revenue, all based on the arts. So,
wow.
I mean, that is a success story and a half. They have a town of 17,000 people, and, that's incredible. And that included, they did $1.8 million restoration of their arts center. They gave grants for all of the events there so they could market them really thoroughly. And they funded youth arts programming. And that return came back to them 100-fold.
The city is investing in this. They're investing in it for a reason. It's because it has a return on investment, not only for the businesses, but for the people that live here as well.
The art can be fantastic, but if the city around the art is terrible, it doesn't inspire return visits. I think the fact that Lake Oswego is what Lake Oswego is, the fact that we have the flower baskets, the fact that we have stricter than some regulations around signage, it's a beautiful place to visit. So when you add the art to that, we get lots of return visitors. It makes a difference.
And it takes community involvement. So my encouragement from a business perspective would be, hey, businesses, let's make sure that we contribute to, these are two nonprofits here, but also the flower baskets. Those don't happen by themselves. The chamber raises funds for that. The city does help support, but they're not doing everything. As Eric had mentioned, there's still fundraising that needs to happen. And is there anything that the businesses could do to help?
Anytime we can get businesses that are willing to volunteer, and we fully encourage businesses to come in, wear your logos, wear your branding while you volunteer. Let people know who you are and who you're representing. When a city leans into its identity as an arts destination, it stops competing for the price of living and it becomes about prestige of living here. A huge part of that is their arts. Please come to the festival, June 26th through the 28th. A fantastic time for everybody.
I speak for Natalie when I say that we have sponsorship and advertising opportunities for businesses. And these are ads that really work. When you take out an ad in the Gallery Without Walls guidebook, people see it. The other thing I would say is, visit by all means. Visit the Gallery Without Walls. Visit our current show.
Thank you both for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, Liz, June, lots going on. We're going to talk about what we need to know in LO, but let's remind everybody again, the chamber office has moved. Tell everybody where you are and how to find you.
We are at 311 B Avenue, Suite E. We'll have an open house probably the end of June or possibly July, but watch for the newsletter and we will let you know when we're ready to have you come through. Now, if you're a business, you should know that there are nearly 600 high school students that are graduating this month. Lake Ridge is graduating on June 4th, and Lake Oswego High School is graduating on June 9th. And I think those are the days, and those days before and after are the ones that you're probably going to see some visitors who know a little bit about Lake Oswego, but not a lot. So they bring customers to Lake Oswego. So even graduation brings customers to our restaurants, to our retail, and just walking around the city looking at our art. Here's a big one. If you're a business listening today, Friday, June 19th is our multi-chamber networking. It will be at the Foundry. We have chamber members coming from Oregon City, Canby, West Lynn, and North Clackamas. So you get to revolve to about 4 or 5 different tables. You'll have different people at every single table, but it's an opportunity for you to give your 1-minute pitch.
Anything else?
July 4th and people marching in the parade together.
If you're a chamber member, we'd love to have you march with the marching chamber members, and we'll be meeting up at 9:30 a.m. before the parade starts. We can also use some sponsors, and that will get you in the video, your logo in the video. The Lakewood is 20 to 30,000 people over 3 days. The parade will be 7,500 people at once.
Wow.
So
That's fantastic.
Plenty of people parking all over the streets and marching to go over to A Avenue and have a really great time.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and I want to remind all of our listeners that every day is a Chamber of Commerce Day here in Lake Oswego.
The Lake Oswego Chamber of Commerce thanks you for listening to Business LO. We would love to have you as a member so you can help Lake Oswego continue to be one of the best places to live, work, and play. If you want to share an idea for a future episode or become a member, visit us at lakeoswegochamber.com and please like and follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And for help with your business podcast, go to modcastproductions.com.